All right. Here we have it. Let's give it a second here for everything to go live. Here we have it. All right. Oh, explosions back there already. Things are already still happening in the background there. Just want to give people the chance to get in here first, of course. That won't be a problem. So, well, yeah. Okay. Waiting for people, but I see we can just get started here with the news. It does appear that something is occurring. I don't know if it's something or something not, but there are doomsday planes up. These ones right here, the Boeing 747-200, they're called doomsday planes. Now, this one's landing. As you can see, it's on the ground. It's near the ground. It's next to a Boeing NC-135 that took off. That is a it's a testing flight, I believe, or something in that aroma there. We got a Boeing E-6 just outside Washington. You've got your doomsday planes over there. You've got some C-5 action. You've got a lot of plane action. Some unusual traffic, I'd say, in some areas. Not like we haven't seen doomsday planes up before. It's just they took a break with them, and now they're up again. We got the E-6 up here. We got some more. We got some tankers down there. But they have a lot of some E-6 action and some special plane action. So that is something. That is something we are looking at right now. However, I think it is important that we get on with the news first. Shall we not? Shall we not get on with the more important news as of right now? A lot of exciting stuff happened today. A lot of videos has come out. Many of them. Didn't get all of them, but I got some of them at least. So, 4 Hamas militias killed this afternoon in Tulkarem 6 weeks ago. We embedded with Israel Special Forces doing a raid inside the West Bank. This right here is the Trey Yingst of the hour right here. A great reporter who is actually inside of Gaza right now. And he's bringing you the latest here. So I think we'll just start by watching this. Turn it down a little bit because there is some loud noises here. But here you have it. Let's start by watching this.
Right now, the Palestinians are engaged in a gun battle inside the refugee camp. We gotta move quickly.
It's 3 a.m. in the West Bank, and the Israeli military is entering the city of Tulkarem.
If something happens, you guys just stay in the car?
Sorry,
They've
I meant to
received
say West Bank.
intelligence
This is
about a
Palestine.
Palestinian command center and explosives
I
factory.
said Gaza. He's also been in Gaza, that's the truth.
These troops from the Agos Commando Unit must move carefully. The streets are lined with roadside bombs. To clear a path, Israeli
just had to check if my
bulldozers
stream
rip
was
up
doing
the
okay.
earth below.
The only way to
It's
take
the West
care of
Bank,
underground
I got to
bullet
say.
traps.
This is Palestine.
As the battalion advances
Main
through
part,
dark
I like to
alleys,
say.
mosque loudspeakers alert the Nord Hasham's refugee camp to intruders. In a nearby house, soldiers take cover. They've located their target, but are pinned down.
Right now, the Israeli military is in a firefight with Palestinian military inside the
This is special operators, by the
And
way.
here, they're firing from the window of this house, trying to hit the militants that are shooting at these Israeli soldiers.
Pushing deeper into the camp, Israeli forces return fire, killing 2 Palestinians.
Palestinian militants are firing on these soldiers. They have to move from house to house in order to avoid that fire. And it's a difficult job, but they have to clear this area It's part of the task in tonight's operation.
Beneath a civilian home, the Israelis locate what they're looking for. In a bedroom, soldiers find roadside bombs, boxes of IEDs, and the materials used to make them. Across the hall, on the other side of a booby-trapped doorway, are dozens of camera monitors. A reminder that the Israelis aren't the only ones surveilling their enemy. An early morning controlled explosion destroys the building, and as the sun rises in Tulkarm, Palestinians survey the damage from the raid, then hold funerals for the dead. One, a fighter from Hamas. The other, they claim, a civilian. In a statement, Hamas officials called the raid a barbaric act. The Israelis say the operation was a success. Sandra?
Trey Yingst on that story for us, embedded with the Israeli military unit there. You will only see that here. Trey, thank you very much.
You will only see that there. They're getting a lot of views because of that Trey Yingst guy. He's doing a great job, and he's there. Moving on with some videos here. This is exactly what Hamas done, and I was speaking about this yesterday. People seem to not understand what they are doing, so I will tell you this. This is Hamas. They will hide underneath schools, hospitals, and everything. But here you have it. For proof, this is the Israeli. Oh, sorry, Mario Nafal, but I think Israeli also uploaded a video like that. I'll probably get it into.
Look at this picture. What do you see? At first glance, you might think this is a school or a hospital, but Hamas sees this as a legitimate place to store weapons such as rockets. Should rockets and children mingle in the same place? How would you feel knowing that next to the swings and slides on which your child regularly plays on, there is a rocket launch pad? How would you feel knowing that underneath the local hospital?
That's the hospital. Yeah, Hamas there, right? Listen to what she says now.
There are tunnels used for stockpiling weaponry, hiding murderers, and the planning of terrorist attacks against civilians. How would you feel knowing that your local authorities are committing heinous, unspeakable crimes and are currently hiding behind you and your loved ones? For the people of Gaza, this is not a hypothetical question, but rather the reality. Hamas has been using civilian areas such as playgrounds, hospitals, and mosques as hiding places for its terrorists and ammunition. While we see a school...
There you have it. That right here is under the hospital right there, right? That's the headquarters.
Hamas sees potential terrorist infrastructure. While we see children, Hamas sees potential human shields. Hamas is so focused on attacking Israelis that it does not care about the Gazans.
Okay, I didn't make this video. Just want to point that out, YouTube. I didn't make this video.
Hamas disregards any human life, and if it continues to exist, civilians will never be safe.
This is educational, okay? This is nothing to show any dangers for the children or anything like that, even though it is. Because, well, they are in danger. That is what Hamas does. But still, it seems to me that people seem to think that we are bad guys, that we are the ones who... Well, when you take out a hospital, or take out a school where nobody's in, or when you take out the school, because then you realize, and people always start saying, oh, well, look at how they took out a school, and then they call in the UN, and the UN says, oh, look at that, you know. But the factor is, the reality is, those schools are filled with terrorists underneath them, not inside them, no, underneath them. They hide them underneath, okay? Not the people of Gaza know themselves. The leaders hide their soldiers and themselves underneath schools and hospitals. The only reason why they do that is because when they know, when they get into a war, and Israel attacks them, because they have always planned on Israel being the one to attack them. They've always planned on playing the guilt card. They've always planned on being the victim, even though they're not. They are the aggressor. That's how they do it. This is what we are finding in Gaza. A building where children play in is Hamas rocket launch site. And you just heard that in the video there before, but we have a second video here which was uploaded. This one, I believe, is from the actual IDF. This is actually from IDF, and listen to this right here. They found underneath a school, and this is where children play, and I've been saying this for a while here, that they fire off rockets from these positions. I know you get to see it. I can prove myself here.
נמצאים בשבט צופים של צפון הרצועה. אפשר לראות פה את השמות, אפשר לראות פה את כל התמונות. סדר של הצופים הנחמדים.
See, looks like this is a school right here. Or kindergarten, maybe. That's the kindergarten. Look at that. What's that, right? That's in the basement of that school or kindergarten, wherever. That's rocket launch sites. These rocket launch sites right there, I mean, it gets like a good look at it, right? Are used to shell or fire directly at Israeli cities. These ones right here aren't made for fun, okay? And you can't take that reality, because most people can't take that reality. They leave before I tell them about it. They go away because they don't want to realize it. They live in their own little reality where they think everything is just perfectly fine. They're fighting for the freedom. Fuck you. You're not fighting for shit. What you're fighting for is so Hamas can continue to do this shit where they're hiding underneath hospitals, hiding underneath schools, waiting and putting people's lives in danger. Okay? Shooting rockets from a school. Israel is the one backed up in the fucking back thinking to itself, we have to commit crimes that will be seen as crimes, even though they're not. Some people say to me, the thing that happened in the refugee camp, targeting of ambulances, I don't condone some things Israel's done. I think they've gone overkill sometimes. I definitely think so. I don't say I condone everything, but do I condone the factor of taking out a missile barrage underneath a school in a basement that is filled, that is filled with rockets firing at Israeli cities, at Israeli civilians? Absolutely. Why? Because that means that you get to save a bunch of people's lives that was going to be taken out by one of these missiles. And look how many there is. You know? It's all right there. All these individual holes here, those are missile barracks underneath the school right there. So I can't stress this enough. Do I condone the factor that they're taking these systems out? Yes, I do. If you can't find that reality in a reality, I'm sorry. But that's just the world. Okay, that's how it is. Not it is. I've got a second video as well. So, additional rocket launch sites and munition stockpiles used by Hamas have been discovered and destroyed by Israeli forces in northern Gaza today, with many being in or around mosques, residential buildings, and storage sites for water and food. But listen to the first one. Now, the other two were pretty bad as well. But the mosque. What I think is funny is the fact that they claim to defend their belief. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but their beliefs are something that has to do with praying inside a mosque, right? Or a mosque, however you say it, right? So, I find it funny that they didn't just proceed to put missile rocket launch systems or these missile burst systems inside mosques.
מצאנו פה עמדה של שיגור של רקטות, כנראה מחולק לשתיים, חמש וחמש, אפשר לראות כאן, כל הרקטות כבר נורו, מכוונים לכיוון צפון, בתוך שטח הארץ, זה החשמל, והחשמל הזה נכנס עד לתוך המבנה הזה, שהוא בעצם מסגד שממנו מפעילים את הרקטות. מצאנו פה עמדה
Some pictures of it as well. There you have the missile storage underneath a mosque, where they hide the munitions of the missiles that are used to target civilians in areas where civilians go every single day. Put that in your minds. Oh, I think something's coming in now. We see flares over Gaza right now. Oh yeah, some stuff's going on. I think police shelling is still happening. But just to point that out, that's what they do, okay? Just as long as you don't understand the factor here, being Hamas is the bad guy. Hamas is the one causing the effect of the civilians, of the death of the civilians. The Israel is the one that fires the rocket, but it's in self-defense. Now, I'm sorry if you can't grasp that reality. And if you think it's sad, I think it's sad too. War's not a funny thing. War's hell, okay? There ain't no fun thing about war. But sometimes there's more things to it than what you see. Because Nazi Germany would have you believe that Britain was shelling their cities without them shelling their cities. You know, they'd have you believe that Britain was the only one shelling civilians, and they were the ones shelling military targets. Nazi Germany would have you believe that, even though they weren't. Even though we all know they weren't. That's a grasping of reality right there. People who simply didn't know, right? German citizens, they believed that, didn't they? So, that's some reality right there for you. Hezbollah published a video demonstrating an anti-ship missile after media reported the arrival of U.S. warships in the Mediterranean Sea. So there's U.S. warships along with a U.S. nuclear-powered submarine, I believe, have entered in the areas around the Red Sea and in the Persian as a massive deterrent for the Middle Eastern countries, as short as Jordan, Syria, mostly Iran, from deterring those guys to cause any further escalations. Now, Hezbollah then released this video right here. Hezbollah is, of course, in Lebanon. Lebanon is right up the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, and where there is also known to be ships located. The effectiveness of these rifles right here these rockets right here is unknown. Do they work? Couldn't tell you. They probably do. Would they take out a ship? I don't know. It's hard to really say, you know. But I think the choice of them saying that they're gonna fire one of those is it's like 1 in a million, right? Because they know that as soon as they fire one of those off, you know, they know as soon as they fire one of those bad boys off, U.S. will respond with 5 times as much in the area and where they just shot that off. That's the reality. So there you have it. That's the recent things from Hezbollah. They're still threatening to do nothing or do something, right? It's kind of hard kind of thing there. Oh, a hard line, but that's what they're doing. Significant escalation in the north. 30 rockets fired from southern Lebanon. Sarge sounded just north of Haif. Israel is responding now. Israel has been responding throughout the day here to a present threat happening along the Lebanese border. Now, I did say that I did think there was going to be an escalation in forms of more rocket barrages and more. Oh, we're hearing areas of thinking all clear going off there in Ukraine. But I did say there was going to be more things, but probably in shapes of shells, things like that. That's the reality that we're looking at right now, and I certainly do believe that's still a reality. So, you may see my title. Sorry, I'm going to keep looking at Lebanon if anything else happens. Of course, Hezbollah is not Lebanon, but Hezbollah is very much in control. I'd say some places, in some reality, right? So, yeah. But continue to watch that. So you might see my title and why you're here. The Jordan Prime Minister, Bishir Kaishavian, or something like that, says attempts to displace Palestine from Gaza or West Bank would be a red line, and his country would consider it a declaration of war. So this is not just a union. This is not just a faction. This is not just a terrorist organization. This is, in fact, though, the Jordan Prime Minister. So it is a threat in certain ways. So I believe he's going to live up to it. Don't know. I think it's kind of like a hard line right there. Oh, Witchy, welcome in. So Jordan has put down another red line, or I'd say another red line. They've already put down a red line before. Is it going to be a Russian red line, or is it going to be a Israeli red line? You know, Israel has a tendency to act on their red lines, and Jordan and Iran and countries like Russia has a tendency to not really act on their red lines. Well, not in a spectacular fashion, right? Not in the full consensus, but he has threatened that the displacement of Palestine from Gaza or West Bank would be a red line. This country would always consider it a declaration of war. I don't know if he's talking about the moving of them, because they've already been displaced, haven't they? I mean, many of them has moved south after they heard what Israel. But I guess what they're saying is the full displacement, you know, sort of moving them away. But Israel has already made it very clear they're not going to move people away. They're not at war with Palestine. They've already said that. They've already said they're not at war with the Palestinian people. That's the official statement from Israel and from the Prime Minister. Have said, we are not at war with the Palestinian people. Okay, you need to understand this. We are at war with Hamas. We are at war with terrorist organizations within the areas of Palestine and Gaza, mostly Hamas, right? And now how it's, mostly terrorist organization. We're not at war with any other country, okay? We're not at war with a country. We're at war with an organization, a terrorist organization. That's what we're at war with. So It's kind of like a ridiculous statement from Jorden, but it's also something we have to take into consideration. Some statements come out, I think, both from Iran. Hezbollah has continued to, no, I think it's Iran, but we'll get to that in a second, has continued to threaten the U.S. There's been all kinds of other things happening. We'll get to that in some time. But first, we are going to understand what a bunker buster is. Now, I've been mentioning some bunker busters recently, and I thought, well, you guys might not understand. And some of these guys are now explaining and saying to us that, well, the Arab world, or some of the Arab countries have sort of, what could you say, sort of told the Western world, or at least said that they doesn't condemn the Israelis for using bunker busters. Now, the funny thing about that
bunker
is that,
bombs or bunker busters,
sorry if I get to that. The funny thing about that is,
as
they're not illegal, because if you're hiding underneath a bunker, and you need to get into that bunker to take out important, vital military equipment, which is usually, unless you're using it on civilians who are hiding in a bunker, if you use it on a legitimate military target, bunker busters are not illegal. But, that's just another thing that's come out. But watch this video right here so you can understand what a bunker buster is and how it works. This is how it works.
bunker bombs, or bunker busters as they're also known, are essential for attacking military facilities that otherwise would almost be impossible to attack. These facilities could be command centers, ammunition depots, or research labs, but whatever they are, they're usually massively important, which is why they've been reinforced either underground or behind huge amounts of concrete. Bunker bombs are weapons that penetrate deep into the earth or right through a dozen feet of reinforced concrete before exploding. Bunker bomb.
It's a short little video right there, but it does give you this sort of reconsideration of what that is, and what it is and what it does. And Israel's been using them. Do I think that's a bad thing? No. Because where is Hamas hiding? They're hiding underneath the ground. What option do you have to limit this war's duration other than using bunker busters? The U.S. used them in Iraq. Yeah, we used them. We used them in World War II. We used them in all kinds of wars. They're not illegal. They're used to take out elements of enemies that are underground. Hamas works underground. So, so it's not like it's like an illegal thing to do when you work underneath the ground. And you have your important facilities underneath the ground, you have to use bunker busters. And I don't see why they have what the Western world, some people are calling it out. They're not illegal, Like a hot knife. Yeah, it's like a hot knife through butter. That's what they do. They just penetrate straight through. That's what they do. An update from Israel-Gaza border. We had an update from Trey Yingst earlier. If you wanted to see, there has been a significant escalation happening right now in the Western Bank. I want to repeat this for people who just come in. Significant escalation happening in the West Bank as there continue to be riots and call up of mobilizations of not even for Hamas and terrorist organized attacks in the West Bank, which is the main part of Palestine, or Palestine, what they want to call it, right? And Trey Inks was there earlier. You can go back and watch that in the start of the video. I think I retweeted it. You can go to his channel on Twitter, or his account, Trey Inks, if you want to watch that. We're going to watch this right here. It is a update from the Israeli-Gaza border.
A quick update from the Israel-Gaza border. There have been a number of airstrikes tonight against the northern part of Gaza, but it's certainly not as heavy as it was last night or even the night before. We've also heard some outgoing Israeli artillery, some small explosions in the distance, but it appears Israeli infantry troops are still operating inside Gaza. The Israelis say they've surrounded Gaza City and they are expected to push in the coming hours or days. This is all a very fluid situation, as many eyes on the ground are actually focused on northern Israel, where 30 rockets were fired from southern Lebanon earlier today, and tonight the Israelis are responding, striking targets belonging to Hezbollah.
Oh shit, I forgot my sound. My bad, guys. I was like, people were leaving. Oh, sorry. I forgot to put the sound on. Yes, so, just repeat what I said. So, what I was saying is that it's still a hot pocket within the Israelis' borders. It's definitely getting very hot within the Israeli borders. And it is very, very much getting hot within the areas around the globe there. Well, you know, the Jordanian borders is definitely heating up. Houthis is definitely who are now at war with them, but not part of Yemen. Okay, they're not part of Yemen. Vaughn, welcome in. Okay, so they're not part of Yemen. Okay, people seem to not understand that Houthis are not Yemen forces. I want to bring this to you right now, so you fucking can understand. Okay. Some people seem to not be able to grasp a simple fucking reality that... So I'm going to bring it to you. I'm going to bring it to you very, very simply here. So people in Yemen are not people fighting for Yemen. Yemen been in civil war against people who now at war with Israel. You understand? Yes, great. Good for you. So, just trying to cut it out in paper here for you, or whatever they call it. Cut it out in paper, right? Cut it out in cardboard. Yemen is not at war with Israel. Yemen is at war with none other than the Iranian-backed Houthis working in Yemen. They're at war with those people who have declared war, so they're at war with two people. Yemen does not have the capabilities to take on Houthis. However, Israel does, but they are blocking down a lot of material in Gaza. But Yemen, how it is at a two-front war right now. Yeah, and of course it's heating up over here towards the Lebanese and the Syrian border. The people from Iraq's trying to get through. The Iraqi militias, the Islamic resistance, as they call themselves. People from Syria is trying to maybe get their things up, and some have been noted that they may be trying to move towards the Israeli border, which could be a significant escalation or something like that. There's been notifying census of some Syrian terrorist organization, or even the government itself. It's hard to understand. The only real threat from a real country, right, was the threat that we got from Jorden today. That was the real threat. That was the only real threat that we've had since the start of this war, from another government to directly go to war, right? The other ones have said that they were willing to go to help, but they haven't given out an ultimatum or something like that, which is the thing that Jorden has done. Now, Lebanon is not trying to go to war with Israel. The Hezbollah forces working within Lebanon is trying to go towards war in Israel. So, just to bring that up to you to speed, there are a lot of these terrorist organizations, not countries, that are trying to go to war with Israel. Okay, there are a lot of countries that are calling for these terrorist organizations not to do so. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of people who don't understand the situation. You just need to understand that the only government fighting right now is Israel. There's no other governments fighting. The only things that are fighting is organizations that are trying to attack Israel with their manpower. That is quite significant. The most significant one of those are, of course, the Hezbollah forces, which is the most powerful and significant. So that's what I wanted to tell you. So just cutting it out on paper for you. Israel seeks to bring in 50,000 to 100,000 Indian workers for jobs formerly held by Palestinians. So it seems like to me that Indians nowadays are becoming a form of currency trade, because every single time anybody has any problems, they always say, "We will bring in the Indians." Well, there's so many of them, so we're bringing in the Indians. There you have it. Well, go away, please. Fucking Christ.
Right now we are negotiating with India. We are waiting for a decision of the Israeli government to approve that. And we hope to engage 50,000 to 100,000 workers from India to be able to run the whole sector and bring it back to normal.
Hey, I am in favor of bringing people from these countries who don't have a lot to work in countries that have a lot, but did I believe the factor that they always have to, you know, Canada is full of Indians? Well, the factor is, Vaughn, they keep calling up on the Indians to work everywhere else but India because India is so bad at providing work for their own people. Now, I don't know if that's the sort of bad system they're running, which I believe it is, but, I mean, hey, I don't see the problem in it. You know, I don't see the problem in it. But I will say sometimes I found it a bit weird to see all these Indians moving to all these places. As in a way, the way I see it weird, I don't see it weird because that they're moving to places. I see it weird that we look at them as sort of currency. I think that's the way that we're looking at Indians nowadays. It's sort of a, not really so much as, well, we're looking at them as humans, but many times we look at them as workforce, which is such a bad view to have. No, they're gonna take Canada over? It's all planned? What? What are you talking about, Vaughn? But you know, it's... Yeah, so it's sort of... I hate the fact of how our view towards Indians have become... The fact that they become more of a sort of only working force. I feel like that's such a... But it partly lies upon what the stupid Indian government has done. Sorry, but it's true. But that's another point of view. Not gonna look at that. Footage from last night and this morning reportedly showing heavy fighting, which led to an eventual capture of Hamas outpost in northern Gaza by Israel mechanized infantry and armored force. Here you have it. So this is a video that came out from Oish Defender here, or I think it's from the direct IDF forces. Of course, it's from them. Of course, but here you have it. Boom. So this is the reality. This is everyday reality for what the Israelis are doing here in Gaza. It is a brutal front here. I mean, this city is very leveled. I mean, they're moving forward with as much equipment as they can, I'd say. It is a significant way of fighting. I think they chose the wrong enemy, didn't they? They chose the wrong enemy. Hamas chose the wrong enemy. A couple drivers. Oh yeah, I saw a video here today. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to share it with you. It was a couple drives past a group of Jews in Beverly Hills, California, protesting against Hamas. They shout Heil Hitler and proceed to throw a Nazi salute, which apparently she doesn't even know what that means, right? So they did it wrong. So yeah, there's absolutely correct, which but here you have it. So she's sitting there in the car, looks at the Jews, and the best thing she has to offer to anybody is do what she does here. She brings up and she does a Nazi salute. Have you ever seen anything more disrespectful? I don't know. I've not. It's absolutely disrespectful. It's absolutely such a. It's such a no afterthought. No afterthought of what that means, or not even a before thought, right, of what that means. Before you raise such a hand and do such a thing. And the factor is, when you take a look at her, now I don't want to be rude here or anything like that, but the factor is, you can tell she doesn't understand what the Nazis did. Because the Nazis in Nazi Germany wouldn't have accepted her. And nowadays, Nazis, right? They are not going to accept someone that looks like her. They're not even going to accept people that look like me, okay? I wouldn't be accepted. I've got brown hair and brown eyes. That's a fucking straight to the gulag for me right there if Nazi Germany was running my country, okay? So, just want to point out that some of these people, they still don't, they understand it and watch that history, you know? The factor is, and then some of these other people, I'm going to bring up this point right here, and I'm not trying to be rude here, okay? I'm just trying to bring you the reality of it. There's a lot of people that go out in Palestine, that go out in support of Palestine, and sometimes in support of Hamas, that are then openly showing the factor of how, of the factor that they're gay, or the factor that they're transgender. The factor is the fact that you want to support Palestine in the first place. Not the direct idea that you want support, that you can't support the people of Palestine and the freedom of the two-state solution. Sure, but I just don't understand why you don't look at the factor of how your people, the LGBTQ community is treated in a country like Palestine, or in the Middle Eastern countries in general. I just thought to myself, that they wouldn't have a lot of respect for what they do to people like them in the Middle East, because they don't, if you don't understand it, they don't accept you, okay? They don't accept people that are part of the LGBT community, not like we do in the West. I'll tell you that much, okay? And I personally, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. Be whoever you want to be, right? Personally, because I don't care. But in the Middle East, they care. But they don't care in a good way. They care in a bad way. And they not only, if you go to Iran, there's a thing called morale police. These people are there to ensure that there's no such thing as a gay couple. There's no such thing as a gay man or a gay woman or something like that. But that's where you have it, right? But listen, there's a difference between what they have and support Palestine and what they haven't, and if you support Palestine or not. It's the difference in what you support directly. I can't speak upon that because there's a lot of different sides to it, and we definitely haven't got it. But I think there is a person that probably will tell you just exactly what I mean, and I think the Terminator will do the job. And if you didn't know why I say that, right? I literally wrote the Terminator will do the job. And if you don't know who the Terminator is, read a fucking book. No, sorry, I meant watch the fucking movie, not read a book. Has it made a book about it? I don't think so. But there he is. You have it. The former Californian governor, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, the man of the hour. Here you have it.
The Palestinians have a right to live. The Palestinians have a right to have their own country. Israel was attacked viciously, unprovoked, and innocent people were killed and tortured and burned. But at the same time, we have to recognize that there needs to be a two-state solution. The Palestinians have a right to live. The Palestinians have a right to have their own country. And they have to learn how to live next to each other. It's that simple.
I think that is a great way to put it. I think what he's saying here is there is a two-side story, but there is also the idea that they in futures, we can't eradicate the whole Palestinian population. That's simply not going to happen, and something I wouldn't want to do that. Why would we want to do that? We want to eradicate, speaking of for Palestine at our work. Well, Vaughn, I can't tell you about, what it is, but, you have to just sometimes just ignore it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't involve you. As long as they don't get violent, it doesn't matter. Pick your battles, I think, is my best point. And a lot of people, if you want to speak up, listen here, okay? These people that are speaking up about Hamas and all these, they're not rational people, okay? They're not gonna see your point. They're not gonna stop talking and let you get your point across, okay? They're not gonna do that. Pick your battles, okay? Because the factor is, in 10 years, these people aren't going to sit out. In a year, these people aren't going to be in the streets anymore. When the war's over, or if the war's over, and when it gets over, these people aren't going to be on the streets anymore. They're not going to care anymore. They're going to go on with their lives. That's how it works. That's how they always work. It's just a point being here, got to pick your battles. Okay? And you got to pick your battles once in a while and just live your life. Yeah, exactly. And exactly, which, you know, they have to figure out a way that they can live next to each other without going against each other and without attacking each other. I think what Arnold said right there is a great illustration of what is happening. Israel was attacked unprovoked and has a right to defend itself. But there has to be an after. There has to be a two-state solution, because if there isn't a two-state solution, then they can't live next to each other, and they have to accept that, and they have to live next to each other without provokingly attacking each other, living in peace next to each other, and that means getting rid. Yeah, that's true, Witchy. And that means getting rid of all terrorist organizations and all terrorism inside of Palestine, and ensuring that the politicians and the people of the authorities that work inside of these countries, or the countries that are going to be, that these people are people who work in the favor of the Palestinian people, and not just work in the favor so that one day they can attack Israel again. Okay? So I think there has to be a two-state solution, and I think one day, when we are done with all the terrorism and the terrorists are gone, right, I think these people in Palestine are going to realize that maybe living in a multi-nation control, where you have these forces who aren't terrorist organizations, who will help you rebuild your towns and your infrastructure and your life. Hopefully, sometimes this has to happen, but if this time could happen, they could realize the good things that could come upon that, and live a life that is worth living. I think that is our message, my message. Okay, but let's move on here. So the senior U.S. officials have reportedly been warning the Iranian government and Iranian-backed militias in the Middle East, such as Hezbollah, for several weeks now, both directly and through back channels in countries like Turkey, that if they decide to launch a significant or a coordinated attack on Israel, then the United States will respond militarily. So, and this comes directly from senior U.S. officials right here for you, and big news sources as well. So, if the Hezbollah or Iran or Iranian-backed militias decide to launch an attack, I think we're in the margin of error where we're talking about the rocket attacks. I think we're talking about the idea of a direct military attack with boots on the ground, trying to attack into Israel, like what Hezbollah is doing, but in a bigger sense. They go all in, right? Iran backs them up. Then there will be a military response by the United States of America. And that military response may be in form of a certain 17,200 military personnel. So let me read this out for you right here to get this over with right here. So there is right now that the U.S. has deployed over 17,200 and 200 military personnel to the Middle East. This deployment includes 12,000 sailors on the USS Ford and and Eisenhower carrier strike groups, 4,000 sailors. Can't read. And Marines with the Bataan Amphibious Ready Group, and an additional 1,200 troops deployed to the region. Source: Fox News Pentagon producer. Sorry, a little bit of a read right there. But what I'm trying to say is that the U.S. has committed a force of almost 20,000 soldiers that could increase to 20,000 if anything happens. I certainly think so. But at the moment in time, there is almost 20,000 U.S. personnel in the Middle East, on the ground, and on ships very close to the area of action that could attack, or at least assist in attacks, and will respond to a military attack, or a attack by forces like Lebanon and Hezbollah or Houthis or Syrian-backed or anything like that, the Iranian militias. That would cause a devastating blow to any military or terrorist organization trying to cause any provocation. Now, that is counting the soldiers. We're not accounting for the amount of ammunition. We're not accounting for the amount of planes. We're not accounting for the amount of warplanes they have in the area, the amount of with the tanks and the sheer, well, how can you put it? Explosive power, shells, explosive power, rounds, munitions, guns. I think the best way you could put it is America. That's the best way you could put it. So there you have it. Okay, so let's move on here. In the past 30 hour, 30 rockets were fired from Lebanon and at northern Israel, and the IDF is responding as we speak with artillery shelling. This has become a daily occurrence. I was saying that earlier, and I'll say it again here. I did say there probably was going to be a further escalation in forms of more increasing attacks. I did say that. I didn't say that we're going to go to war. I don't think so, but it's looking more and more like it. I'll be honest with you. I've never said there isn't a likelihood. I said that the likelihood is slim, but I will still say that there is a gradual higher chance. It's becoming higher every day because of these, occurring attacks that continue
Clashes
along the
renewed
border
between Israel and Lebanon on Saturday, a day after Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah made his first speech since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. The Israeli military said it struck militant sites along various villages in the border where it says that Hezbollah was trying to strike at Israel. Massive plumes of smoke could be seen coming out the Lebanese village of Aita al-Shab. It is one of the villages hardest hit by Israeli shelling. Nasrallah said Friday that his powerful militia was already engaged in unprecedented fighting along the Lebanon-Israel border and threatened a further escalation as Israel's war with Hamas neared the one-month mark.
And there you have it. And that's the latest there. Yeah. So, 86, how are you? You guys doing okay out there? I'm doing fine. Israel aircraft, artillery, and tanks are currently launching a coordinated attack against Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon in response to rocket barrage earlier today towards the city of Haif from northern West Israel. So when they say tanks, they mean they're driving up to the border and the tanks start firing from the area. They have, of course, a long-range systems and artillery, of course, and aircrafts who will be flying in and over and conducting airstrikes and all that kind of stuff. So things are occurring, things are escalating in a certain way, I'd certainly say. Keep an eye on it, is I think what I'm going to say. Splendid. The U.S. Department of Defense has announced that the number of American troops who have suffered injuries over the last months as a result of a non-stop attacks by Iranian-backed militias on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria has now risen to at least, get ready for this, don't get too mad now, 46 with, sorry, that wasn't even a word right there, 46 with 2 of the soldiers having to be airlifted to Land Shuttle Regional Medical Center in Germany for observation related to a head injury following one of the attacks. So, I don't think there's anybody who's died, other than I think it was a commander or something like that who had a heart attack, but that's not directly, well, that's, but yeah. 46 U.S. personnel has been wounded or injured as you could put it, from a continued attack that not only happened today, it happened today as well. There's been attacks occurring today in such positions, Iraq and Syria, all Iranian-backed militias. Do I believe it's going to be long before the U.S. decides it's enough? It's hard to say, because I think the U.S. is trying to avoid a regional war. And I get that. Honestly, I get that. But it's also coming at the expense of a lot of U.S. Personnel. Ocean, welcome in. So it's going. The factor that the U.S. is not at the moment wanting to act in a current, wanting to conduct a war, is an admirable task, and I think it's a task that is certainly going to prove fruitful. But however, I also believe it's going to turn a situation that is quite a hard one to a situation that could be looked at less favorable. 46. Can attack U.S. and get away with it. Exactly, 86. And I think the U.S. can't continue to seem weak in the eyes of such terrorists, because what do you do when you have the school bully who eventually attacks you so many times? Eventually, you got to beat that guy up, because eventually he's gonna kill you. Okay. Eventually, he's going to kill someone. That school bully, eventually, that's going to kill someone, unless you show him who's boss, all right? And that's what's happening here. Unless the U.S. shows it's the boss, it's the one who controls, well, not controls, but it's the one who can control if it wants to, or in that sort of sense, right? So I believe do I believe we're going to see a war happen? Don't know. It's hard to say, but I certainly believe it's getting closer and closer. All it takes is Hezbollah saying we're going to war. All it takes is Iran saying we're going to war. All it takes is Syria saying we're going to go to war. All these countries that have already threatened that they want to go to war, many of them who I believe have been scared by the U.S., but many of them who I believe are so caught up with their own ideologies and their own stupid sort of beliefs that they simply probably won't, stop. So, yeah. It's, there you have it. So, remember yesterday when I was talking about a space rocket that got shut down by Israel? Well, it wasn't a space rocket. Obviously, I didn't say that yesterday either. But the ballistic missile in space, I like to call it the space rocket, that was fired from the Yemen howitzers, that we call the Yemen howitzers. They're not Yemen howitzers. They are operating in Yemen. They are howitz. They're called howitz. They're Iranian-backed militias using Iranian ballistic missiles. Homemade, it appears. And this one made it into space. I think it's close to like 46 miles above the atmosphere. It was in space, pretty much. And here you have it. Boom, there you go. And that was a strike from the Sword system, I believe it's called, or the Storm Shadow, or something like that. But it was, you kind of hard to see what happened here, but you have the description. Israel deployed its aerial missile defense system to intercept a ballistic missile outside Earth's atmosphere in a landmark combat event. The ballistic missile, launched by Iranian-backed howitz from Yemen, covered nearly 1,000 miles over the Arabian Peninsula en route to its target, the Israeli port city of Eilat. The Israel Defense Forces have provided limited information regarding the interception, but it is known that the Air Force operates several Arrow 2, so it's not Sword, it's Arrow, 2 systems designed to destroy incoming missiles in space using hypersonic interceptions. Hoorah! Oh, I hear gunfire in the background. I don't hear that. Some kind of burst gunfire in the background. There you have it. That's a sort of a conclusion of what happened yesterday. Such a wonderful event. Yesterday in Tel Aviv, Israel, a Boeing 737 was landing doing missile attacks and the drone Iron Defense System operating. Sorry, what? was operating, sorry. The moment of landing was caught on video. The insider reports the Boeing 737 was on flight. Don't really need to read that, but it was from well, it doesn't really matter. The video shows the plane landing doing a missile attack on the city and the work of the Iron Dome air defense system. The plane was being landed by Al pilots. According to Flight Trader 2024, the plane arrived with a delay. Why is this important? Why did I add that? Why did I think that was necessary to add? Well, I got it off this guy. Okay. Do I copy other people's tweet? Yeah. I'm gonna try and hide that. I mean, most of them I do edit out because many of them use such an intricate word system that is like, you know, some people also add additional information that's like, do I need to know that? So here you have it. These are the missiles going up. You can see that's the Iron Defense System trying to take out the incoming missiles there, as you can see. And you see just in the late video there. You can hear it coming in. There you have it. The missiles that's being intercepted, you can barely see them, right? You can barely see them, but they're literally flying. It was literally flying in the area directly where that Iron Defense System was going up. You know, it was amazing that they managed to get it out before that plane came in. But, you know, that's the situation right there for you, and that's something that they do fear. You know, and one of our shut down a satellite with a missile. Satellite with a missile. You know, a satellite's a pretty well, I was gonna say it sits still, but it doesn't sit still. It moves pretty fast. I get that, but when you think about directory and the fast and the speed, you know, I think I don't know. I do think the U.S. has done its feats, but right now we're just talking about Israel, and it is the first time ever, so that is something. I'm talking about the speed and the directory. It's a feat of engineering. I'll tell you that much. The New York Times reports U.S. officials have sent message to Iran and Hezbollah to say the U.S. would be prepared to intervene militarily against them if they launch an attack against Israel. I read that earlier there as well. The IDF has reopened an evacuation route for Gaza civilians to move south for their safety. The IDF has repeatedly called on the residents of Gaza City to evacuate from the northern area. And continues to urge them to do so. We are not at war with the people of Gaza. And that was given to you, and that is right there. We are not at war with the people of Gaza, directly from the Israeli Defense Forces right there. That's their actual Twitter. But as you can see, they're watching and coming through there. Now, this is a civilian quarter right here that they're open up to let civilians who are tagged. Now, civilians who are tagged, because they've tagged civilians with a certain number that they've then run backgrounds and probably run some kind of security test or something. I don't know, but they're tagged and they're allowed to come through because they are checked in. They've been checked, you know. What also is happening to many of these civilians that you're seeing is Hamas is actually starting to enter the homes of the homes that they have access to of civilians and dragging out the fathers of said homes to fight with them on the battleground. Now, many of these people are people that don't have military experience. They're fathers. They're living in conditions that probably no human should live in, and they're not. Well, they probably haven't eaten anything in a while or something like that. That's the conditions that the Hamas forces are conducting them in, and then they tell them to go fight with them, fight for them, and usually then they'll probably use those guys to go first. And that's the exact same what Russians are doing. So it's turning into the reason why the IDF wants civilians out of there is because they don't want any more people to be able to fight for Hamas against their will. And the problem is, the IDF forces are just shooting anybody who's running at them with a gun. They're not gonna differentiate who you are. If you're running at if you're running at them with a gun, and you're in Gaza, they cannot simply think that you're not a terrorist, and he will put you down. That's the reality. There you have it. Israel special forces have killed Jihad Shehadeh, the leader of the terrorist cell in Tulkam in the West Bank. So I was heard about this. I haven't been able to find a picture of him. I searched it up, but I haven't got like a direct picture of him. I can't show the video because, well, obvious reasons. But apparently another leader of another organization, another state inside fucking Hamas has been killed today in the West Bank. Another one. The Netanyahu says the current war is part of a broader battle between civilization and barbarism. Sorry, yeah, there you go. That is led by an axis of terror, which is led by Iran and includes Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, and their own other minions who want to bring the Middle East and the world back to a dark age. Leader number 752, yeah. Would it be wrong to say, because I believe that if we got rid of the current government and the current situation in Iran, and we got rid of that, we got rid of all the terrorist organizations, we got rid of all the disorganization, all the corruption inside the Iranian government, you got rid of all that. You got rid of all that. Netanyahu, but that's how to say it. I don't know how to say his name. But you get rid of Iran, not kill the people, but get rid of the government. All your problems cease to exist. Because these Iranian-backed militias are all of a sudden not going to be Iranian-backed. You know, they're not going to be Iranian-backed anymore. So where are they going to get their supplies from? Nowhere. They may be able to survive, but they won't be able to fight a prolonged war anymore. I truly believe that if we want to solve the Middle Eastern crisis, we get rid of Iran and we can solve the Middle Eastern countries like that. 100%. You know? I think so. But, you know, it does require us to go to war and maybe lose some manpower, but that's... We'll get to that when we get to it, won't we? Clear for publication, an Israeli soldier rescued by IDF last week was held in an apartment near Shafia Hospital in Gaza as special forces killed 2 terrorists doing rescue operations. So he was a hostage that was held in a hospital, and there was terrorists inside that hospital. Another proof for you. Again, there you have it. Yeah, again here, daily attacks against U.S. bases in Syria and Iraq continue. They're all leaders, yeah. Biden administration is planning a $320 million transfer of precision bombs for Israel. So, Biden administration is planning for a transfer of precision bombs for Israel. It's come out today as well. Hamas is manufacturing a fake fuel crisis in the Indonesian hospitals in Gaza. Don't fall for it. Well, I've been saying that for a while. Listen, all these hospitals, the people are saying, oh, they're going to run out of fuel. It wouldn't run out of fuel if Hamas was to not take their fuel. Okay? So here you have it.
انا كلمنا ابو احمد الزريع امبارح وقال عبي من الاندونيسي. انا عندهم 600 لتر الفول تبعهم اللي خلاص عبيهم 600 لتر عبيهم سيدي.
نازلين لنا نقص سولر ونقص سولر ولا عندهم نقص شيء.
كذابين هذول محزون موجود في الخط. هذول نص مليون اللي حكيت لك عنه. بس المستشفيات عم بتقول لي انه عم بوصلوا لهم اياهم تعرف ناس اللي بتيجي تتبرع على الراي.
if you're still not convinced that the only people who are doing war crimes, who are conducting war crimes in Gaza, is Hamas, well, then I don't think you're that. I don't think you're that smart, because it is only them, okay? And they're the only ones who have. We have video proof of that. That hospital, which they keep saying is undersupplied, running out of fuel, it's not running out of fuel, okay? Some of the other hospitals are, but that specific hospital is not. If people don't leave, so be it. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd certainly say, leave the northern part of Gaza. Leave. Don't stay. Leave. Okay? It's not that hard. You say to me, oh, it is hard. I believe there is a way for you to get out of there. If you are in there, I believe there is a certain way for you to get out of there. But that's, I can't speak to that. I mean, I'm not there, right? But I think, listen, the fake fuel crisis in which Hamas is creating is only in certain areas. Many of the hospitals, that they actually care about, the ones that they're treating their wounded and their people, right, is ones that they continue to fuel. They continue to fuel these hospitals that they have fuel, and they only do it. So I said that earlier. I said to everybody else. I said it. I'll say it again here. They're telling you that they're running out of supplies. They're not. They are lying. Hamas is taking the supplies, and they're showing videos of civilians who have no supplies, because those civilians don't get the supplies. They don't get the supplies. Hamas takes it. They have guns. The civilians don't. Okay? So, yeah. Another fun thing that happened in America today. A Jewish activist group, Jewish Voice for Peace, have taken the Statue of Liberty for ceasefire now in Gaza. So I don't know why these Israelis are calling for a ceasefire, but apparently they are. But here you have it. They have taken. You know what I think is funny? The fact that they used the Statue of Liberty for that. You know what a Statue of Liberty is, right? It used to be a gun post. The Statue of Liberty used to have guns sticking out of it. You know? It used to be a fucking gun post. Hippies? Well, that's their beliefs. I just think it's funny because the Statue of Liberty used to be a gun post, but that's another point, right? Moving on to... No, I think... No, that was... Okay, I'm going to save that for later. Moving on to some Ukrainian news. Yesterday, I reported that there was a ship that could have been possibly damaged. Of course you do that. Well, you're right, Vaughn, right? So... a possible ship, and now we have the confirmation. The Ash ship, right, is the modern ship that was launched in September 2021, one of Russia's most modern ships, located in a Crimean port, was targeted and what appears to have been taken out. Check it out. Boom! That's one right there for you. Oh, that's gotta hurt. And then, no, it's not over yet. Don't worry. Oh, that one had to hurt. Oh, that one's gotta hurt. That one's gotta hurt. Looks like they're targeting the port, though. Nobody they were targeting that one. It looks like this is on fire. Oh, that's another one right there. Oh, it's gotta hurt. Oh, it's gotta hurt. It's just gotta hurt. Oh, look at that. That's such a beautiful sight to see. Look at that right there. That's gotta hurt. Take that, you fucking commies. Take that. It just needs some tape. We need some duct tape out here. Let's get some duct tape out here. We can patch this up in a week or something like that. You know, if we continue to just patch it up. Holy shit. It got so fucking destroyed. Could they repair it? Sure, but it's gonna take a while. Holy shit, man. That is a lot. It's a gorgeous sight. It's gorgeous. Latest defense intelligence update from the UK intelligence services provide us with an insight of the Russian economy here, and I want to read it out to you today. Inflation rose to 6% in Russia in September 2023, up from 5.3% in August 2023. So from August 2023 to September, its inflation has risen by 0.7, right? Which is right, yeah. Oh wait, not yeah. Which is pretty good, yeah. So it is happening. It was driven by rises in consumer prices such as food and fuel. Higher inflation is almost certain to increase the cost of funding Russia's war in Ukraine. The Central Bank of Russia, CBR, responded by increasing the base interest rate by 2% points to a new base rate of 15%. So 2% points to a new base rate of 15%. These are the highest rates since 2022. It's highly likely that the CBR will maintain high interest rates throughout 2024. This is highly likely to increase borrowing costs for Russian consumers, and it's likely to also impact the Russian government debt servicing cost. Due to increasing demand, particularly due to the large increase in defense spending, along with continued pressure of tightening labor market, the Russian economy is slightly at risk of overheating. This highly likely to ensure inflation in Russia in 2024 remains above the target rate of 4%. Continued high inflation is likely to erode real-term government spending, particularly. Oh, shit, a lot of stuff to read right there. Particularly, God damn it. Particularly, how do you read it right there? Particularly, right? Yeah, particularly in areas such as social care with the low inflation spending rises, the further illustrate and regeneration of Russian economy to fuel with the war above all else. Sorry, I sometimes read all this stuff right here in one go. It's like a lot of words in English that I don't really sometimes read, but I do my best here. But just to point out that what I was reading there is a good thing. Okay, it means that the Russian economy is taking a tumble, and it's finally beginning to say, "Arrivederci."
Ej, hvad sker der, Martin? Er det et jordskælv, der er på vej?
Arrivederci. Our AH crab survived a direct hit from an enemy landship thanks to its anti-drone mesh. So the Russians, they don't know how to put no more gas. Yeah, the Russians, they don't know how to put their anti-mesh drone mesh, but the Ukrainians do, and they have this massive nest up here that's completely iron covered right there. It's well built. Here's how it looks, right? So the Ukrainians, well, they have their great systems up going, and they thought, well, we're just going to stay here. And the Russians thought, well, we can take this thing out with our drone hits, and let's do it. So let's see what happens. You have it. It comes. Oh! And you may think to yourself, it's gone. It's destroyed. But wait for it. Just wait for it. Because any Russian weapon would have just gone away. Oh no. This bad boy is Ukrainian. It doesn't get destroyed. It doesn't fumble. It doesn't cross its legs. No, it stays put. It survived. Oh yeah. Hurrah. Now, I didn't show any after pictures, but I imagine that they're telling me that it survived. Ukraine. Okay, there we go. Ukraine in defense industry confirms mass production of Ukrainian long-range drones. Ukraine has launched mass production of kamikaze drones with a maximum range of 1,000 kilometers. Herman Smetanin, the head of the state-owned Ukraine defense industry concern, formerly known as Yukoprogronprom, told Ukrainians Pravda, something like that. So, a lot of long-range, usually they had the long-range Beaver drones, but they've upped that business there, and they are now producing long-range kamikaze drones. These drones will be able to not only conduct operations that's going to do a lot of damage deep inside Russian territory, but it will allow the Ukrainians to target targets that previously from the Russians were thought to be untouchable. So it's going to be a bad day for the Russians. Ukrainian special forces have conducted a successful raid on Wagner forces in Sudan, destroying a large group in the city of Daman in nighttime raid. So here's the city right there, and this is the location and where they said they were attacking them. So one other thing I want to point out here to you guys right now is that not only is Wagner trying to cause up some stir in the Middle East, as we know they were there to train up Hamas soldiers, they're doing it in Africa too. But not only will Ukraine not allow them to take Ukrainian land, they will not allow them to take on Africa. And the way they won't allow them to do that is by, well, launching operations at them in Africa. They're in Africa. We are Ukrainian special forces operating in Africa, taking out Wagner soldiers in Africa. So the Wagner forces thought they were done fighting against the Ukrainians. Oh no, baby. You just got started. The Ukrainians, they're going to hunt those assholes down to the end of the days, and when they finally ask them, please, please stop, we'll do anything, they say, all right, okay, I'll bite. I'll bite. Kill yourself. That's what you got to do. Sorry, I'm just a messenger, okay? Zelensky told me, not only did he tell me to go fuck yourself, but he also told me that I should tell you to, well, just go off in a shed and take out your pistol and, so, hey, I'm just a messenger, dude. I'm not, don't blame me. It's Zelensky. I don't know. He also told me to tell you that Putin is a fucking terrorist. If you saw the interview with Zelensky yesterday, you'd find that very funny. No, there's no estimated numbers, Ocean. It's kind of hard to know these kind of things because we're talking about an African country here. We don't really have the numbers, so I didn't really get the numbers of anything, no, but estimated numbers, I don't think there's that many. We're probably not in the hundreds. I think we're in the 10s, 20s maybe, but I'm not aware. Vokzalna Street in Bucha, as we saw it in early days of April 2022. The tweet below shows that this was very street looks like today. So the Bucha massacre, which is a very famous thing by now in Ukraine, which I'm sure is going to be a movie one day, right? This is how Bucha looks like today. It's such a historical city in Ukraine right now. This has a lot of history, with recent history with the war crimes that was committed by the Russians there. And well, here you have it today, filmed by Ukrainians here, and a lot of Russian war material left behind to, well, get destroyed, or are destroyed. And there you have it, right? Such a, I mean, it's so insane. It's so insane. The level of destruction is insane. remember seeing videos from this area way back, you know, when it first came out, when we heard about the Butcher massacre. We first came out, we first heard about it. I don't think I've ever heard. I don't think we've ever had such a death-defying, such a tragic, such a extreme event in such a long time in history, where we've heard about the possibilities of attacks and war, and like this is where one of the events where you will remember, you know, throughout after the war, where this town will very likely have a history of, well, a history that will carry on to a much larger scale. Well, those two definitely having a good time. You see that? No. And the Russians right there thinking, oh shit, it got destroyed. Well, I better drive on top of it so I can protect it. I don't know what happened right there, but something happened. All those are Russian cars, by the way. And you see the devastation that the Russians met in the city. I mean, they met a lot of devastation. They got destroyed. You know? Absolutely destroyed. That was in Bucha right there. They got massacred. Not only did the Ukrainians get massacred in the Bucha massacre, but the Russians there as well. All those BMPs and vehicles and infantry vehicles and tanks and all those things right there just on the street. Much of it could be Ukrainian, that's true. And much of it could be Ukrainian as well. I believe most of it is Russian, as I see the looks of it. It looks very Russian. Some underpants on the streets right there. Dirty Russians. Dirty goddamn commies. I mean, it's so insane, the level of destruction, you know, that's what I find it most extreme, is the level of destruction in Ukraine. Especially in just towns like this, you know, where it's just so vividly destroyed, you know, which is like every corner of the street has a pothole, every width of it you can't drive through it, you know, and you probably won't be able to drive through it for a long time. They have to get all that shit out the goddamn street, you know. Every fence, everything has a hole in it. Every street corner has a bullet hole and shrapnel from explosions and all kinds of bullshit. You know, it's so insane. So bad news supplied with some good news, I will say, cause here you have it. Kherson left bank. We finally have Ukrainian armor spotted on the left bank of the Dnieper River in the vicinity of Kryninki. I think that's how I said it. There seems to be an amphibious BTR-4E bookish howl, something like that. This is a historic image. This is an image right here. This image right here is taken on the left bank of Kherson, an area in where we thought that the Ukrainians for a very long time were in. Now, we've just seen actual evidence of Ukrainian armor on Kherson's left bank trying, or is actively, launching assaults against the Russians in that area. Launching the two-pronged frontal assault, and an area in around Kherson and Donetsk are getting attacked on both fronts there. It's a hard fight for the Russians, and I believe so too. And more on it as well. According to a Russian military blogger, recent Russian shelling confirmed Ukrainian army increased the area control north of Pedishtin at the left bank of the Dnieper River. More evidence is coming out. I don't think you can have it more confirmed. They are there. I think the general staff has confirmed it, but they are there. For the first time, the MAA-1 Abrams got into camera lens of the defenders somewhere at the front. So an A1 Abrams, there's an Abrams right there, got into a lens, okay, got into camera lens of our defender somewhere at the front. There you have it. The American Abrams. They're Americans, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Love to see it. The French company Cybergun signed a 36 million euro contract to supply Ukraine with weapons. This is stated in a report of the company's press service. The agreement provides the supply of 10,000 assault rifles, 2,000 sniper rifles, and 400 grenade launchers. The first serial delivers are planned.
Hello Fresh. Balancerede måltider på den lette måde.
Are planned to begin in 6 months, and the process itself will last 10 months. Pretty good. 10 months to deliver 10,000 assault rifles and 2,000 sniper rifles? What the fuck do you mean the process itself would take 10 months? How fucking slow are you, you fucking... Sorry. But, like, could you imagine? If you were fighting at the front lines of World War II, you told your commander, we need more assault rifles. Okay, well, you're actually going to get them in 10 months, you'll get them. What the fuck are you talking about? I need them tomorrow, okay? I was like, you can't deliver guns to people 10 months later, but apparently that's the new reality of war right now. Whatever. The German government is still undecided on whether to supply long-range Tower missiles to Ukraine. This was announced by the head of the German Defense Minister, Boris Pistorius. That's his name. I don't think that the missiles will be a game changer. ATACMS, which was handed over by the US, has a range of 160 kilometers. Towers, 500 kilometers, is a completely different system, said Pistorius. So they're still pushing for the tire systems to be sent to Ukraine. So Germany is still holding back on that because the sole reason of their range is why they're holding back on them. So still watching about that. Odessa under massive missile and drone attack tonight, which was last night. 8 people are reported injured. Civilians and industrial infrastructure are damaged, and this is reported over last few days here. There's been increased attacks. Well, we already know what's going to happen, and well, this is what you're having here. God damn it, I keep... Here you have it. This is from United 24 Media. And there you have it. That is throughout the last few nights here, increased attacks in that area. Now, if you were a little sad watching that video, I'm sure you're going to be a little bit better now hearing what I have to say now. The Russian subsea telecoms cable damaged in the Baltic Sea. Oopsie. Oh, sorry about that, Russia. So, a Russian subsea telecoms cable is damaged in the Baltic Sea. I don't have much more information on it, as it's still some new information. Probably investigation is still ongoing. But it does appear that someone decided, well, they were a bit tired of the Russians doing stupid shit. So they thought, well, let us, you know, do, just, why not? Why can't we do it? So we do it. Probably not, but maybe we did. Maybe it's the Chinese again. They're not so good at selling, apparently. We'll move on. We'll get to more of that hopefully one day or tomorrow, probably. Destruction of a column of a Russian armored vehicle near Volheta by 77 separate mechanized brigades is operating in Ukraine, Ukraine. It's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. More destruction and going from the Ukrainian. They're just hammering the Russians. On every second of the day, Russians are receiving blows after blows after blows after blows of just ridiculous amounts. Hang on. Boom. I love seeing it. I love it. So I'm going to show a little video right there. Now, moving on to some little bit more of a news that I found a little interesting here. Some Jordan officials, or Jordan, so not Georgia, not America's Georgia, Jordan, Georgia, the country, right, here, right? Sorry, I'm so stupid. Right there, not here. Sorry, there. That's Georgia, and Georgian, whatever you say. Officials told us that Russian troops kill Georgian man near occupied South Ossetia boundary. Russian soldiers shot a Jordan man to death in Georgia near the illegal boundary with Russian occupied South Ossetia. Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty reported on November 6, citing Jordan State Security Services, SUS. I find that quite interesting. You see a German plane heading. You guys see a German plane. Oh, look at that. Both. And it's Italian plane right now and a Jordan plane. So a German plane is heading towards Georgia right now. Look at that. But I find that quite interesting. The factor that they want to kill, you know, did they want to do that? Are they going to go to war again? I don't think so. But it's just another proof of the Russians just being total fucking assholes, constantly provoking, constantly doing everything in their power to be the scum of the earth. You know? Great stuff. Boring stuff, but annoying stuff. One second here. So, the Russian terror state that caused genocide, terror, and potential genocide. So I have another video here for you. A lot of other things here, but they have some comparisons here for you. If you don't believe the commies are the worst people ever lived, watch this video right here. And yeah, the only thing losing in Ukraine right now is the territory itself. The Ukrainian land. That's the only thing losing right now. It is devastated. Not only is the houses, but it is simply devastated by such a relentless attack by the Russians on soil, on animals, on grounds, on natural beauty. Continue to be destroyed, and I'd say the only people who get destroyed is the yeah. So absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely true. Rheinmetall, German tank manufacturer, Rheinmetall, yeah, indicated it was going to build a plant in Ukraine, but I missed the detail at the time. We all did. I didn't know that either. Just want to point that out. The new Panther will be primary tank manufactured at the facility. So, yeah. So there will be, don't know when, probably after the war or in 2024 or something like that. But eventually there will be a manufactory with Rheinmetall's name on it, partially funded by Ukraine and probably them, or mostly Ukraine or something like that, Western world, to manufacture Leopard tanks within Ukraine itself. Now this is actually good because it could mean that Ukrainian armor is tested in battle. Ukrainian armor knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing because they know battle. I believe that after this war, when Ukraine is eventually free, that the best armor in the world, you had American, and you have maybe some British, and you have Ukrainian. I truly believe that they could become one of the top best manufacturers when it comes to drones, simple armor in general, and gear, because they've tested it. They know it. They're the most modern country that we could have as an ally that's been at war, that we could learn a lot from, not only in the way of how you fight against the Russians, but also in the way of how you make battlefield equipment. Learn from it. We're going to make the army that we're going to have with Ukraine in NATO, and the Ukrainians sharing their intelligence and their knowledge will be so great that, well, I think there's no other way to put it. It will be amazing. So if I was ever going to be in power, I'll buy Ukrainian stuff, 100%. The security service of Ukraine has blocked 76 bot farms with an audience of 3 million fake accounts since the beginning of the full-scale war. The head of the cybersecurity department in particular, in 10 months of 2023, the SBU neutralized about almost 4,000 cyber attacks. They're not only working on the ground, in the sky, they are also working digital. And they're doing it good. Ukraine is to invest in its own cartridges production, so it's on to invest in making its own cartridges, and it's running quite dry on that. Is the only thing it's running a little bit low on. Other than that, some air defense systems and things like that, things they are working on getting better at. Soldiers of the Steel Border discovered a newly created enemy dugout in the Kupiansk direction, and explosive congratulated the occupiers with the new home. A video of it as well. Look at it. So they found themselves a little dugout. Boom. There you have it. Boom. That's my saying. Boom. Yeah. Fuck you guys. Okay. Let's us move on to the losses of today. Loss of Russian occupiers in Ukraine. We are hitting above the 300,000 mark. 880 soldiers today alone. We have 359,000. Sorry, not 359. 305,970 soldiers in total. 4 tanks, 5 armored vehicles, 14 artillery system, 20 drones, 14 fuel tanks, and don't know why they don't say 1 warship. They should say that, but I guess it's only damaged and not sunk. So I guess there's a difference. But I would add a warship to that. Just saying. But yeah. Could we expect a attack tomorrow by the Russians? I think so, because usually when they have lost numbers, they usually have the next day, they usually launch some kind of attack. I don't know why, but I just have that feeling. So yeah. Some more news of Ukraine here. We are preparing for the worst winter in history, so we will close our eyes if we don't get Tyrus. But we will get air defense system. We're trying to protect our power plant as best as possible, but the Russians are learning. Kuleba is in an interview, Die Welt. The German defense minister Boris Pistorius says that the issue of transferring Tyrus missiles to Ukraine is not urgent, since these missiles will not change the rules of the game in the Russian war against Ukraine. There are only hours between these two statements, since Germany has been waging war for decades. It certainly has more experience in this area. Germany is a... Oh, okay, not gonna read the last part there. But, so, gotta go. Alright, see you later, Vaughn. See you later, Ocean. But yeah, it's certainly gonna be a hard winter for both sides. I do believe Ukraine still is gonna come out on top. I think it's a bit ridiculous that Ukraine keeps saying that they can't win without these Tyrus fucking missiles. Get over your own fucking self-righteousness, okay? Sorry, but I will have to say this. I think it's ridiculous that Ukraine keeps asking for these Tyrus missiles, because they won't make a difference. The only things that will make a difference for your war right now, and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to be honest with you right now. The only thing that will make the difference for your war is your goddamn F-16. So instead of continue to push for a goddamn Tyrus missile that won't do shit difference, you know, it won't do it different. It's just another missile. What you need is air superiority, and you will get that with, and I repeat myself here again, with your goddamn F-16. So why not focus on that and then get back to me when you have that? You know, just saying. A full square of people gathered in Ushra to honor the Ukrainian fallen defenders. This happened today, but it's a pretty cool video here. Let's show you. There's a strong, very strong spirit still in Ukrainian. It's good to see this. I don't know what these 100 traits are for. I don't know if that was the song soldier. I don't know. Or it was from a specific attack, could be. There you have it. A little bit last here. The Putin was spotted in his motorcade today, heading for the Kremlin. You have it. This is his motorcade, and what was traveling in the middle right there, he's probably traveling in that middle car right there, as you can saw. Not that one, but probably that one right there, as you see. So he was spotted today, or his doppelganger. I don't know. USA News. So we have a little bit of a reading material here, a lot actually, maybe a little dry, but we'll get to it. The U.S. will begin training the Armenian army. The United States will begin to help Armenia in the field of professional and combat training of the military. This, according to Armenian Minister of Defense, was announced at the meeting between the First Deputy Minister of Defense of Armenia, Edward Ashran, and the Deputy Commander of the U.S. European Command, EUCOM, Lieutenant General Stephen Basham, in Stuttgart, Washington, will assist Yerevan in strengthening its non-commissioned officers and modernizing its command and control system. American specialists will also help the Armenian military in peacekeeping operations, improving military medicine, education, and combat training, the EU-COM representative said. There you have it. Southern Ukraine, a pair of U.S. supplied Mi-17V5 HIPs in service for Ukrainian Army Aviation conducted a low-level check run with the S-8 unguided rockets. This run was coordinated by the Ukrainian Army DTACs. We have that there. So, one part of my text right here, it took me a little bit to get to it, but we got it right here. So, General Shalshny, or something like that, the general for, I think, the front lines or the eastern part or something like that, a Ukrainian general, confirms that an unknown explosives device went off and killed his assistant. The adsb could have been an explosive device in gifts rather than careless handling of a grenade. The police said that Hanadi Chasekov probably died in an accident. There is no reason yet to talk about a Russian trace. Without a 99.9 probability, this is a tragic incident. He was given a live grenade for his birthday, one of which detonated due to a careless handling, law enforcement agency noted. A Ukrainian general has had an assassination attempt happen upon him. That right there is some fucking bullshit from the Russians right there, if that's true. And we believe it is. So, more on that if we get to it, but right now he's alive. Obviously a tragic thing for the Russians, committing more crimes as they are trying to take out Ukrainian command. Yeah. The State Department staffers offered a blistering critique of the Biden admin's handling of the Israel-Hamas war in dissent memo obtained by Political, arguing that, among other things, the U.S. should be willing to publicly criticize the Israelis. Well, for what? Well, the refugee camp, sure. I think that's something maybe. Trump came out with a statement here. I have great respect for President Zelensky, but I think it would be inappropriate to go to Ukraine at this time. The Biden administration is dealing with him now, and I wouldn't want to create a conflict of interest, former U.S. President Donald Trump said earlier today. If U.S. defense officials really think that the forced deterrent is working in the Middle East when we have literally just suffered at least 6 attacks in the last 24 hours and now easily over 50 attacks in the last months, they're seriously out of their minds. Well, and I had read that, and the reason why I want to bring it to you is that I think it's false. I think if the U.S. wasn't there, I think it would have been a much wider war by the countries. So these people here who are saying stuff like this, and we want to bring it up here, is because, well, it's simply not true. Okay? It's not true. Okay? There is no reason for you to assume that it's not working, because it is working. It's these terrorist groups who aren't bound to a country, who are a terrorist organization sponsored by Iran, that are conducting these stupid attacks. Not countries itself. So the deterrent, which I believe is working. So I think it's a stupid statement. That's why I want to bring it up, just to call them out. North Korea news here, funny enough. There's a funny news that came out from North Korea. North Korea claims it has developed world's strongest nuclear force. Because that's, yeah. So, well, that's obviously not true. That's the United States for you right there. United States has the best. Okay? It has the best. We've begun to see the Russians leaving Armenia. The Susha Russian base here, as you can see, I got a video for you right here. 19 seconds here, and he's taking down the Russian flag from an Armenian base, just like one day we'll take down the Russian flag from Kremlin. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But yeah, that's Azerbaijan. That's Azerbaijan. Wait, oh, so he's right. They're on both sides, right? Oh shit, I might. Wait, no. I might be stupid. No, I'm not stupid. Azerbaijan. So I got it wrong there. My bad. Sorry. I meant to say Azerbaijan. I think they have a force or something in that area as well. Some of those peacekeeping forces, which they're also leaving, taking down the Russian flags from that area. So, yeah. Little Russian consulate right there, Russian base in Azerbaijan. What I meant to say. Sorry. I think I just mishabited right there. I don't know why I didn't see the flag. I'm sorry. Sometimes I make mistakes. Okay, and I'll be perfect. Well, there you have it. Alright. Well, that concludes my news. At least from my document. I think we got through pretty good here today. I kind of like what we got through today. And with that, we will watch the flash news update here, probably repeating some of the things we've said, but you'll get some of the additional. After that, we'll watch some Zelensky, and, well, then we'll see what happens after that. So here you have it.
Вскочив, у мене документи тут були, але я їх все одно не спас.
Ого! Оп, мать!
Это включает, ну, видно, в принципе. То есть, я такой первый раз в жизни вижу. У нас пропал свет. В розетках вначале стало 140 вольт, потом 190, ну и сейчас не знаю.
Оце даже документы нет, там все документы. Там всем на документы. Ты что, где ты живешь? В каком мире? Всем на твои документы. Вот я и пытаюсь жить в Украине, как в Европе, чтобы...
Ліва, група підтягується снаряд, як прийняв.
There you have it. Sorry about that. Let us move on to Zelensky here. Get the latest from Zelensky. Man, the myth, the legend.
Провів засідання Ставки. Перше питання – це трагедія з воїнами нашої 128-ї окремої гірсько-штурмової бригади. Доповідали військові, міністр оборони, керівник Служби безпеки України, конкретика, що вже вдалося з'ясувати по обставинах трагедії, чиї накази створили умови, щоб трагедія сталася. Доповідав, зокрема, головний інспектор Міноборони Воронченка, командира бригади відсторонено на час слідства. Вся ситуація розбирається похвилинно. Буде встановлено, хто конкретно порушив правила щодо безпеки людей в районі доступу аеророзвідки ворога. Жодного уникнення відповідальності. Друге питання на Ставці, звичайно, доповіді главкома, командувачів щодо напрямків основних боїв. Доповідь розвідки, наші наступальні дії, наші оборонні дії, Авдіївка, Куп'янськ, Херсон, Пулова, увага сьогодні. І наші операції в Чорному морі. До речі, я дякую кожному, хто забезпечив успішне ураження російського корабля на заводі в Керчі. Це вагомо. Мінус ще одне джерело російського терору проти України. Мінстратегпром та Міноборони доповіли про постачання зброї і техніки нашим бригадам, про динаміку оборонного виробництва в Україні та виконання контрактів та домовленостей партнерами. І я вдячний усім нашим друзям у світі, хто допомагає Україні з надійною, довготривалою підтримкою, яка посилює нас стратегічно. Готуємось до міжнародних заходів листопада. Провів сьогодні нараду з командою щодо зустрічей та перемовин, які вже заплановані. Очікуємо нових активностей і політичних з Європейським Союзом і з багатьма іншими нашими партнерами у світі, зокрема, щодо глобальної ролі України як гаранта продовольчої безпеки. Відповідні деталі будуть вже найближчим часом. Ще одне, дуже важливо. Минулої ночі Росія завдала чергового удару по Одесі. Ракети, шахеди, частину вдалося збити, були і влучання. Складна ніч для Одеси. Постійні удари по Херсону, по Херсонщині, Донеччина, Харківщина. По всій країні сьогодні була повітряна тривога. Варто усім пам'ятати, що саме головне в Україні зараз. Ворог неадекватний і має силу, і хоче знищити Україну, так само, як і раніше хотів. Всім зараз варто думати про захист нашої держави. Зібратись, не розхолоджуватись, не розпадатись на суперечки.
It is reported that 1 hour ago, a Islamic resistance group Iranian proxy today launched its first tactical ballistic missile at a U.S. military base. This caused much more powerful explosion than what has previously been launched against the U.S. Count on the U.S. striking back. Reported 1 hour ago by Vicegrad, a tactical ballistic missile had been launched at a U.S. military base just in here.
Чи інші якісь пріоритети. Ситуація зараз така ж, як і була раніше. Якщо не буде перемоги, то не буде країни. Наша перемога можлива. Вона буде, якщо ми всі будемо зосереджені саме на ній. Не на політиканстві чи пошуках якогось свого особистого інтересу. Не на суперечках, які нічого не дадуть країні та обороні і нашому руху вперед. Ресурс держави, ресурс бюджету, ресурс нашої уваги та емоцій, ресурс наших зусиль – все це потрібно для нашої перемоги. Я повторю ще раз, всі ми бачимо, як люди вимагають направити бюджетні ресурси не на бруківку і ремонти вулиць, а на допомогу обороні. Так і треба всі ресурси направляти на те, щоб Україна стала сильніше. Усі ми чуємо, що потрібно змінити в самих силах оборони. Це стосується багатьох процедур, які не потрібні. Це стосується багатьох складнощів, які є у наших воїнів. Переведення, тренування, забезпечення. Завдань багато. І всі відповідні структури повинні ними займатися без того, щоб відволікати свою енергію та сили на щось інше. Усі ми бачимо, що зараз не час для широких святкувань чи інших зухвалих речей у тилу, які неприйнятні у час війни. І тим більше тоді, коли армія, коли всі наші сили оборони живуть зовсім іншими емоціями, болем, боями, втратами, але й здобутками для України. І усі ми розуміємо, що зараз у воєнний час, коли є безліч викликів, абсолютно безвідповідально, якось так легковажно, та граючись, вкидати в суспільство тематику виборів. Я очікую від усіх відповідних структур та органів влади конкретних відповідей щодо завдань, які об'єктивно є перед нашою державою зараз. Це стосується і цивільних органів влади, і військового елементу держави, і урядовців з Верховною Радою України, і Служби безпеки України та інших правоохоронних органів. Це стосується і того, що державі потрібно значно більше зосередженості на обороні. Всім у державі. І особливо на регіональному рівні, у тилових містах, які мають відповідні ресурси допомогти та підтримати. Це стосується і того, щоб ніколи більше не повторились такі трагедії, як з воїнами 128-ї бригади, і тих змін, яких очікують наші солдати та командири, особливо хлопці, які були мобілізовані, і нарешті мають припинитись хвилі з будь-якими речами, які розколюють політично. Ми повинні визначитись, що зараз час оборони, час битви, від якої залежить доля держави і людей, а не час вкидів, яких від України очікує лише Росія. Я вважаю, що зараз вибори не на часі. І якщо потрібно поставити крапку у тій чи іншій політичній суперечці і далі працювати лише у єдності, то в державі є структури, які здатні ставити крапки і давати суспільству всі необхідні відповіді, щоб не залишилось простору для конфліктів та чужої гри проти України. Моє особисте ставлення і заклик, так само, як і 24 лютого, дбати про нашу державу, про її захист, про знищення окупанта, про волю України, яка здобувається зараз в боях заради України. Я дякую всім, хто допомагає, слава усім, хто воює і працює заради України. Слава Україні!
There you have it, Slava Ukraine there. As I just reported, as I was watching the video right there, a ballistic missile has been launched at a U.S. military base, causing a much more powerful explosion. No reports of any casualties. Good for that. Yeah. So, okay. So the U.S. Air Force B-1 bomber with an attached sniper pod was flying over Saudi Arabia Sunday when the cruise missile submarine USS Florida sighted the Suez Canal. The B-1 carries the largest conventional bomb payload in the Air Force inventory. Looks like this. It is a pretty cool plane. There you have it. Yeah. But, we will have to keep an eye on that situation there. Okay, let's get on the last thing I think I'm going to do today, and then we'll end the stream there, I think. But we'll get them deep state afterwards as well. See what's happening here in Israel and Palestine, as the IDF forces are pretty much at a standstill point right now. Not because they can't advance, but because they, they are choosing not to advance. I still believe they are trying to cut these two corners here together eventually. These two have been connected. IDF is pretty much encircled. The only way to really encircle them would be taking along the beach here and, well, taking this part of town here. But that would certainly be the last frontier to take before having a complete encirclement of the area around here. Right now, what they're really doing, as I mentioned yesterday, launching special operations to take out terrorist organizations and groups and rescuing hostages and other things like that. Hamas claims that it has destroyed 79 Israeli tanks and other military vehicles. Yeah. Take that with a grain of salt, but it's probably less. But it could be. Don't know. But yeah. Russia loses around 7,000 soldiers killed or wounded near Andivika. Also 100 tanks and 250 other armored vehicles. Oh, look at that explosion back there. In the past 3 weeks alone. That's a lot. Yeah. Alright, let's head on to Deep State, see if there's anything remotely. I did have this I wanted to show you. There are some special plane activity over the Pacific right now. We got a lot of E6 action, nuke planes. Got an Airbus that took off from the United Kingdom that's in, we've got a lot of people heading, what appears to be heading towards South Korea right now. I don't know why, but they are. I think some kind of conference probably heading up, but there's a United Kingdom plane landing, there's a United States plane landing, there's a river joint that took off from down here. The river joint flying right here, right now. There's a tanker behind that. You can see that on Flight Trader. There's a tanker behind that. So something's definitely heading up in South Korea. Probably not aware of it. Probably just some kind of defense meeting or something. Getting a look at Deep State here for you. Some advancements by the Russians here in the Luhansk region, or yeah, in the area of Donetsk. Smaller, but they are there. Down here towards the Donetsk area in the Andivika direction. Trying to still circle that area there. Some Russian troops moving further in towards the Ukrainians. Further evidence that the Ukrainians are on the West Bank taking back areas right here is the evidence that there are some Russian soldiers who appear to be trying to counterattack the Ukrainians in that area. These are recent updates from rail systems operating within that area there. If you want to take a good look here, we have the entrenchment systems, if that wanted to show up. There you have it. Further developments on the entrenchment systems become a lot more intricate, and they become a lot more insane. Ukrainians are still, of course, still trying to push past this area, but it is still a hard-fought battle. Any battle trying to push past a trench line is a hard-fought battle. So there you have it. Nothing else really. The Ukrainians are holding, but it is a hard battle. I do believe that the Ukrainians, with all my annoyingness trying to say this, the Ukrainians have to come up with some kind of radical idea here soon. That's going to be a risky idea, but they have to do something to break that deadlock, or the Russians will continue to manage to hold and send too much equipment to that area, and especially because it's winter now, and you know, yeah, the Ukrainians have to come up with something radical. It's just my honest point of view. But we'll get to that tomorrow probably, or anywhere out of time. Have a good time. I am going to leave now. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for being here. Not much people in here. Well, we managed to get a good sum of people in here today. Got through most of it. Trying to cover it all. It's kind of a hard thing, but we did it. I think mostly we did it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for talking, staying, whatever you did, liking. Have a